On this episode, we want to give a shout out to Shelby Bottoms Nature Center and Park. We love this park. When we were deciding to do dad walks, we knew this was the park we wanted to go to. They've got lakes, they've got playgrounds, they've got baseball fields, they've got it all. You've got to check out Shelby Bottoms Nature Center and Park. Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. For this episode, we have on Matt Barlas. We talk about how we got here from Australia, dual citizenship, and preparing to fly to Australia with his family. This episode is a lot of Justin and I asking Matt random questions about the history of Australia, and it kind of feels like when a bunch of dads get together and just discuss really specific historical things for a while, which might be the most dad thing you can possibly do. Justin and Matt and I had a lot of fun, and we hope you guys do too.
So my father is Australian native. And yeah, my mother, she was originally born in Leeds in England and migrated to Australia when she was a child.
Okay.
That is cool.
So it was my grandmother and grandfather that, well, yeah, that's right. It was my grandmother and grandfather that immigrated with the family to Australia.
That's cool.
So what made you move from Australia to here?
Well, there's this lump of metal that's on my finger here that
all right.
has something to do with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my wife, Catherine Clare, hi.
Hi.
She's a Murfreesboro girl, and she went to Lipscomb. I know you're all Belmont grads.
Well,
so
I'm a
Kentucky,
UK,
so
I'm
Oh.
a Kentucky
yeah.
grad.
so, well,
No, you're good.
no, I just trod in it then. So, yeah, my wife is from Murfreesboro. She went to Lipscomb, did a mission trip in Perth, where I'm from, and we met through friends and became Facebook friends. And at this point now, I blame Mark Zuckerberg and the CIA for all of this. So 9 years later, here we are.
Wow, that's a cool story, man.
So we've been married 9 years, and I think we were dating maybe 3 or 4 before that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Nice. What, how come you didn't make her come to Australia? How come you came?
This
let's get into the.
is a good
We'll see
story.
if this makes the episode edit.
So when we were dating, I came here for Christmas with her family because, cold Christmas, because Christmas in Australia is summer,
Yeah.
Oh, man, I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that.
right?
That's got to be weird.
If you're watching Bluey,
Yep.
watch the Bluey
Oh,
Christmas
They're
episode.
all
Where they're
swimming in the
swimming.
pool.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're in the pool.
That's
right.
right.
That was the one I really got emotional watching.
Was
I
it
like-
really?
Why am I crying at a cartoon dog?
Yeah, basically.
So yeah,
Brought back memories.
I came here for Christmas, and my mother-in-law, my now mother-in-law, she goes to me, so if you and Catherine Clare thought about where you're going to live, if this thing gets going, and I said, well, we haven't really thought about it, right? I'm a dual citizen of Australia and the UK, so we could live there. Britain were in the EU at the time, so Europe's an option, or I could move to the US. She goes, oh yeah, that's nice. You're moving here, right? I'm like, all right.
Okay,
That's
Yeah.
how this is.
You didn't. You said a statement. You didn't ask a question. A question. I heard that as a question. It was a statement.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's where I went wrong.
Understood.
Do you have U.S. citizenship?
No.
Okay. Cool.
So I'm permanent resident
Okay.
now. I had to renew my permanent residency a few years ago now when President Trump was still around.
Okay.
And I joke about it that was one of his golf afternoons. Just get this out of here. So
Wait. You had to renew your permanent residence?
yeah,
But
so,
doesn't permanent imply permanent?
not quite. So
I don't understand. All right. So there's a difference between a citizen and a permanent resident?
yes, there is.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
All right.
This is
So-
actually just a civics
Yes.
lesson. This
Tell
isn't
us,
about father.
please.
So when I came here on a K1 visa, which
Okay.
is 90-day fiancé. It's an actual thing, right?
Is it
joke.
really?
It really is.
Oh my gosh! All right.
So that's how you and Catherine Clare really met.
Yeah. No, we're on
Which
that.
episode?
It's the one with the Nigerian.
Okay. Yeah.
No. So came here on a K1 visa. Once you get married, you then have to apply to alter your immigration status to permanent residency. And then it's a long process. Anything with immigration takes ages.
Yeah.
It's a long thing, and at the end of it, you get temporary permanent residency. Right? Temporary,
permanent.
yeah,
Gotcha.
Definitely, maybe.
yeah, potential, right? So that's valid for 2 years,
Okay.
and I guess the idea behind it is that if somebody got that and got divorced
Oh, okay.
for
Oh.
US citizenship or whatever, that would be the point where Uncle Sam said, "Yeah, you know what?
I gotcha.
See you
yeah.
Yeah,
later."
you're trying to fool the system.
Yeah. So after that, then you put in a bunch of papers again and you get permanent residency. So permanent residency, you have to renew it every 10 years. And that's what a green card is.
Okay.
And it's actually a green credit card you have to tote around with you. I'll show you later.
Okay. Yeah.
And what that basically means is that you've permanently, the government said that you can permanently live in the country. And then you have to renew it every 10 years. The only difference between permanent residency and a citizen really is the government can revoke permanent residency if they wanted to, which they can't do with citizenship, and I can't vote.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I have to say nice things about everybody, right?
yeah.
But otherwise, it's very, you can work here, you can do everything else that anybody else can. The only other thing then is if you wanted to run for elected office, you have to be a citizen to do that. And you can't serve on a jury.
Oh.
Oh, well then, heck yeah.
Man.
Stick with permanent resident.
So, yeah, that's how that works.
All right.
Is there a limit to how many citizenships you can have as an individual? Do you know that?
It would depend on the countries that you're a citizen of.
Okay.
So Australia doesn't. Australia recognises dual citizenship. You're allowed to have dual citizenship.
Okay.
Same with the UK, the US as well. Malaysia's a good example. Malaysia don't allow dual citizenship. So if you become a citizen of, say, the United States, the day that you become a US citizen, your Malaysian citizenship ceases.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
And there's a few countries like that. Kenya's another example that comes out as something like that. So
fascinating.
Yeah,
Man, did you know all of this before you became a permanent resident, or did you just learn all of this from becoming one?
Bit of both. There was also a bit of a scandal in Australia where members of parliament had citizenship by descent that they didn't know about.
Oh.
And there's a clause in the Australian Constitution that if you're a member of parliament, either the House of Representatives or the Senate, you can't be what they call subject of a foreign power.
Oh, okay.
Right. So the example, there was this one guy, he was a senator from Western Australia. His mother was born in New Zealand, right? Migrated to Australia. He was born in Australia, lived in Australia, hadn't been anywhere else, didn't have a New Zealand passport, but he was eligible for New Zealand citizenship. And somebody went doing Ancestry.com on this guy, figured it out, and he ended up having to resign from Parliament.
Whoa.
Because he was in violation of that section of the Constitution. And there was a few like that, and then there ended up being some by-elections and things like that afterwards.
Yeah. Wow. That'd be a big surprise.
Yeah. So for those guys, what they had to do, there's a formal process called renouncing citizenship. So they had to go through going to in this guy's case, the New Zealand High Commission in Canberra, and filling out a form and signing saying that as of this date, I am no longer
I'm
a
breaking
citizen.
up with you.
Yeah. So then
So it's not actually announcing or denouncing.
renouncing.
Renouncing.
Okay.
Okay.
So then there's a process. I just lost my train of
I'm
thought.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
you're,
sorry.
renouncing the citizenship, so then you can hold office
Yeah.
if it's
So what? There's a thing with American tax law that if you live outside of the United States, you still have to pay taxes in the United States if you're a citizen. So what a lot of Americans do who live abroad is they renounce their US citizenship to avoid tax.
Really?
Ah.
So then there's this whole thing, if you're applying for a visa, it's have you renounced US citizenship to avoid taxes in the United States? Yes or
Really?
no? Yeah. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
It's Uncle Sam wanting his taxes.
Yeah. But then Australian tax law, UK tax law, right? A lot of other countries, the US is the outlier here. If you don't earn income in that country, unless you have a debt there,
Yeah.
you don't pay taxes in Australia, the UK, wherever.
Nice.
So,
Kind of logical too.
yeah. But the US is different.
Yes, it is. So that means if you guys for some reason move to a different country, like you move to Canada, UK, or something like
Yeah.
that, Catherine Clare would still have to pay taxes unless she renounced her citizenship.
Yes. Yeah.
Fascinating. I actually never knew that.
But then also
What would she be paying taxes on, though?
Just
Social
like federal
Security.
Social Security.
Social Security?
Oh, okay,
Gotcha.
cool.
Social Security, Medicare.
Okay, I was gonna
Okay,
be like,
cool.
but if she doesn't have property, what? I mean,
Yeah.
Or
But then some other people who live who are from other states that have state income tax,
Yeah.
you have to pay that as well.
Interesting.
So I mean, there's probably I don't live in New York or
Yeah.
California. I live in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Even though I live in
Yep.
Australia.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, how many businesses are set up like in Delaware and like all of that because of tax codes that I
Cayman Islands.
Yeah, I'm not even going to act like I
Bermuda.
understand that. So I'm just lucky my bank account has any money in it. So,
Yeah.
that's my stance.
I'm skint anyway. I've got a wife and kid, right?
Yeah.
My credit card was not declined today, so I'm going to assume things are going well.
Count that as a win.
That's a win.
I won.
I won today. How old is Eliza now?
Eliza's 18 months now.
18 months now.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel like around 18 months or 2 years is whenever they start to get like really fun.
Yes.
And I feel like there's so many more opportunities as a dad that you're like, I feel like I have a much bigger role now.
Yeah. I'm probably jumping ahead here, but
Do what you gotta do.
One of Eliza's favourite toys that I got her is a Duplo space shuttle.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Right.
Nice.
And I'm like, listen, I don't care if you're a girl, you're getting Lego. Right.
Yeah.
And her favourite thing to do is you've built the space shuttle, right? You got the little men in it and everything, right? And her favourite thing is throw it on the floor, watch it all
Yeah.
burst into
Yeah.
bits, and then bring you all the pieces and you can put it back together again.
So, Eliza, are you planning on getting dual citizenship for
She
your
already has
Nice.
it.
Oh.
Okay. I was going to say I've heard a lot of people that do have dual citizenship do
Yeah.
it for their kids as well.
Yeah, so she was eligible for citizenship by descent through me.
Yeah.
So we went and did that, and she's got a nice little certificate to say that she's an Australian citizen.
That's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And she think that's pretty cool.
She,
No, doesn't care.
I want a snack.
Yeah.
Knack is the
Knack?
new word.
Oh,
Knack.
knack.
Yeah, I guess she's too young to really
No, but it's,
comprehend
I mean,
that.
like, do you feel like it's pretty cool that your daughter has dual citizenship?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Catherine Clare think it's pretty cool?
I think she does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Does
That's
it
pretty cool.
genuinely, does it, what's it mean to you that your daughter does have like Australian citizenship?
well, I kind of sarcastically say that that's her college program, her college plan.
Yeah.
If you want to go to college, go to Australia and, you're a citizen there, so go get HECS, which is their higher education program.
Oh, really?
Which is much, much cheaper than here,
Yeah.
even in-state.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think for me,
Yeah.
it's an attachment to Australia. It's an attachment to home.
Yeah.
Not that anything crazy is going to happen here, but it's an option if.
Gotcha.
And there's a lot of people who don't have that option and are stuck somewhere that is less than desirable.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And that's not, it's multiple countries where some people are probably like, if I could get out of here, my life would probably improve.
if I could get to America.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of my Guatemalans do that.
Yeah. What type of green cards do you do for your job?
It's H-2B. So
Okay.
it's through it's like a part of the agriculture, but the Department of Labor sets
Okay.
how much we pay them
Yeah.
and like has a whole bunch of other rules and everything that we have to do, but we pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to have them come over and work for us. And they are workhorses and they want to work as much as possible. And we can sponsor, and we've sponsored 2 people, I think, so far. We're working on our second, sponsoring them to become a permanent resident.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Takes a couple of years to do,
Yeah.
and thousands and thousands of dollars. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So,
really cool.
Yeah, he's so grateful, and he's like, "I'll work for you for a lifetime if
Yeah,
you can
of course.
give me this opportunity."
Yeah.
So yeah, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
a lot of people do really like think of America as the land of opportunity.
Yep.
Which I think sometimes people take for granted.
You are about to fly to Australia, aren't you?
Yeah.
With your 18-month-old.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Is this your first time?
First time with her,
Okay.
I mean, we've done the plane ride a few
Yeah.
times before, but this will be our first time with Eliza. What can I say that's PC here? Right?
You can say
You
whatever.
can say whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Extreme nervousness.
Yeah. Because how long of a?
I mean, it's like a full day of
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah, so
It's not just 3 hours. And
total we're looking at 26 hours.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
That's if there's no delays. If
Yeah.
like everything's on time.
here's fun fact number 1. There might be some fun facts here.
Yeah,
Here's fun
I'm
fact
learning a
number
lot.
1.
Traveling with Matt.
Yeah.
The farthest place that you can get from Nashville, Tennessee, is Perth, Western Australia.
Really?
Yeah. That's the farthest place you can go.
Okay.
So that's where we're going.
Way to go big, man.
Yeah.
You know?
If you're going to do it, just go
do it.
all
Just
in, right?
Fully commit, man.
So it's 26 hours total. This time we're going through, we're flying United.
Okay.
Shout out to United. Please upgrade business class.
Sponsor this podcast. Sponsor Matt. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're listening, call me.
Call me.
So this time, we're going United. So we're flying from Nashville to San Francisco and then San Francisco to Brisbane,
Where is Brisbane?
Australia,
Oh,
Queensland.
okay. Gotcha.
So capital of Queensland.
Okay.
And then from there, we're flying to Perth, which is 5 hours. So that's kind of the equivalent of flying from maybe like Charlotte or somewhere like that to San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Give you an idea of
Yeah.
distance. Australia and the United States, roughly speaking, are a similar size.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
East Coast and West Coast.
Cool.
So then on the way back, where difference then is we're flying from Perth to Melbourne. Melbourne's the capital of Victoria.
Okay.
and then Melbourne to San Francisco and back to Nashville.
Do you guys have like provinces? Do you have states?
States.
States. Okay, cool.
So we have 6 states.
Okay.
6 states, 2 territories.
Okay.
One of the territories is the ACT, which is kind of like DC.
Okay.
It's a similar sort of idea that they wanted somewhere neutral for the federal parliament, the federal government to be, and that's the ACT, the Australian Capital Territory. The other one is the Northern Territory, so that's where Darwin is, and all the crocodiles.
Oh, okay.
And kind of how that started out was it was part of South Australia with the Overland Telegraph. So the Overland Telegraph went from Darwin down to Adelaide,
Yeah.
and kind of just went through the middle of the country. And then from Darwin, it went over to what's now Indonesia, then was Java, and, back out to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So South Australia kind of annexed it and said that, this is kind of ours.
Yeah.
A federation, which is 1901, they said, well, we don't really want this no more, so we're going to give it to the federal government and let them do it. So it's, reasonably sparsely populated. It's a lot of desert there. That's where Pine Gap is, which is the kind of CIA's, black ops site.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say, maybe not black ops, but it's like spying and big satellite dishes and things like that out there. It's the middle of nowhere.
Really? Why would the CIA do that?
Or are you saying it's the Australian equivalent, or is it the actual
No.
CIA?
The actual CIA.
Ooh.
The building there, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's named after Richard Nixon.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Ah, you won't find those in America.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's
The Richard Nixon complex or
Okay.
something like that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
called. So, that's out there.
Okay.
There's also like military installations and
Yeah.
stuff like that out there.
Well, I think we are like, as a country, I feel like unless you have military ties, you aren't really like in tune with like how much World War II affected America's presence in that area. Like I went to the Philippines back in like 2014, 2015 or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's like Americanized like naval, but like the American presence is one I did not anticipate to have such a big imprint on a lot of that region.
Yeah, and it's the start of the Australian alliance with the United States was World War II.
Oh, was it really? Okay.
Yeah, because at the time, what's now Papua New Guinea, which is kind of just above Australia, is kind of the next country up. At the time, that was an Australian territory.
Okay.
It was ceded to Australia at the Treaty of Versailles because it used to be German.
Ah, yeah.
And what happened then was Japan, in their sort of campaign in World War II, got all the way to PNG, which is like, kind of here, if you're thinking like Key West to Cuba or
Yeah.
right,
Gotcha.
something like that.
That's real
Yeah.
close.
That is real close, and they actually bombed Darwin.
Oh, okay.
So bombing of Darwin is kind of a big deal
Yeah.
in up there. And the Australian Prime Minister, John Curtin, him and Winston Churchill didn't get along at all. They're well known for having stand-up arguments with one another. And because of the time difference then between Canberra and London, what would happen is John Curtin had given orders saying, I want these troops back to Australia from North Africa, which is where they were at the time. He'd issue that order, and then overnight, Winston Churchill would say, yeah, you know what, you're staying put. So there was this like back and forth between these two guys. So in the end, there's a act, I think it's the Act of Westminster, that basically a colony can invoke to say that we're essentially a sovereign parliament, that the UK Parliament has no oversight of any matters to do with anything of ours. So Australia invoked that and backdated it to the start of World War II.
Oh.
So troops came back,
Yeah.
pushed them out of Papua New Guinea, and then, the rest is history then. But then in San Francisco, was Prime Minister Curtin, who was the president then?
Was it FDR? Or
FDR.
Eisenhower? Okay.
FDR.
Yeah.
And the New Zealand Prime Minister signed what's called the ANZUS Alliance.
Okay.
So Australia, US, New Zealand.
Yeah.
Now, the New Zealand bit of it's kind of fallen away in later years, but the alliance between Australia and the US is,
Pretty good.
pretty good.
Pretty good.
So, like, nowadays, it's funny, I bump into, like, every now and again to be roaming around and, someone will work out I'm Australian. I've been to Australia. And I say, oh, yeah. Yeah, I went to Fremantle. No, you're in the Navy, weren't you? Right, because Fremantle is the port city for Perth.
Okay.
They're kind of separate, but together it's weird. But Fremantle is a big port of call for the aircraft carriers. So they'll pull into town and we love them, right, because they'll show up, they spend a lot of money, they don't cause a lot of trouble, we put them back on the boat and they go home.
See you later. Yeah.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah.
So how Fremantle came about, Perth is on a river called the Swan River, and when the colonials were there, they were always looking for somewhere that they could sail their big square rigging ships, their wooden sailing ships that wouldn't be in the weather, that wouldn't be exposed to rough sea. So they were like, oh, there's this river, this is great, we can sail all the way up to Perth where the city is and park the boat there and it's great. The thing they didn't know about was a big sandbar that moves up and down the river. And they were, what, we're going to sail our boat out now. Yeah, you see it there. So they were sailing down the river and hit the sandbar. So they were there for days having to offload all the guns and basically anything that came off the boat that could come off did to be able to refloat it to get it over the sandbar. Yeah. So the colonials were then like, what, we are done with this. Mm-hmm. We're not doing this at all. So then they built Fremantle, which is the port, and that's right at the mouth of the river. So if you zoom in, you see it right on the edge there.
Yeah.
So if you are sailing on a aircraft carrier or cruise line or whatever, and you're coming to Perth, you'll dock at Fremantle.
Okay. Nice.
So how do you know all this history? Like, do they teach that in school, or is this something that you've just learned? Or is this
just you?
Yeah.
No, this is stuff that they teach in school, right?
Okay, cool.
Don't ask me about American presidents, right?
You didn't know who FDR was,
Yeah,
well, man, I mean,
who's the...
That's pretty impressive because I know some history, but I don't know
the
history in detail like you have just described.
Well, we have to learn it from rap battles. So that's how we
who's the 33rd president? I don't know. Some old guy.
Tell me the century and I can probably figure it out, but that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I also always love that about every single country has a government that was formed in a specific way, and there was intentionality behind it. And I don't know any of them, at all. Australia, convicts, right? Convicts. Yeah. So, but it is that's how it's formed.
So I mean, you think about. Well, you mentioned our government, right?
Yes.
We have a bicameral parliament, the same as here. So that means two houses.
Yeah.
And they're called the House of Representatives and the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it that out of friendship and whatever, love for the American people, homage.
Yeah.
But that is where the similarities with Congress start and end.
Okay, cool.
Right there.
They share the name. Yeah.
They share the name and that is it.
Okay.
It is very much a Westminster Parliament. So what you would see in the UK.
Okay.
Right. you watch Parliament in the UK where they're all shouting and heckling at each other and
Yeah.
having a great old time, right? We do that as well.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, back to the original question. I love detouring with random history stuff. So what do you feel like you're going to? What's your plan so far with getting Eliza to Australia?
Well, we had an appointment with the pediatrician the other day,
Okay.
and I couldn't go.
Yeah.
Catherine Clare and my mother-in-law went, and I texted Catherine Clare and I said, make sure you ask about what we can give her for the flight.
Yeah. How much Benadryl?
So baby Benadryl is a thing.
It is a thing.
and
Yes.
Yeah.
The doctor was like, hey, you want to give her some of that?
It can help. Yep.
So between that and the glass of Shiraz that Daddy's going to have, I think we'll be doing just fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think whenever we went to the Philippines, we went from Nashville to Chicago, Chicago to Tokyo, Tokyo to Manila. And yeah, that I would have been like 29 or something. Or no, I would have been like 27. And even that with no kids was like, oh, wow, this is a long day. So, and felt cramped. So good luck.
Thanks.
Lots of screen time.
Yeah.
Lots of drawing,
We still have not gone on a plane with Ada. I am like terrified.
Well, I mean, everyone's within like 2 to 3 hours from you, right?
Yeah.
So you even had like let's go.
Yeah. When we went to Florida, we drove.
Oh yeah.
But that was it. I'm terrified to take her on a plane.
I feel like it's length. Like, I mean, if you're doing like a 2-hour flight, like you can figure out how to entertain a kid for 2 hours. Literally, if it's 26, 27 hours, then I'm like, that's a lot.
Oh man.
I can't entertain myself for that long.
Yeah. So this will be Eliza's second flight.
Okay.
Second time flying now. The first time we were like, we really need to try this out.
Yeah.
So we have some friends who her family live in Kansas City.
Okay.
So we went out there and we flew with her, and
How long of a flight was that?
It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and a half.
Oh, that's
2
like
hours,
a
something.
perfect-
Not bad.
Yeah.
Or 9 hours, or like 10
That's
hours
a
in a car.
perfect first time.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
was at the stage where Eliza was small enough that you could hold her on your lap
okay.
and she
Yeah.
would be happy enough
Mm-hmm.
doing that. But now she's 18 months. So it's like,
Squirmy. So
you got to have
squirmy.
your own seat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have to have a car seat?
No,
Or just sit in the seat with
you're holding them.
Oh, even at 18 months?
Well, not at 18 months. At that point, you can take a car seat on if you want to, and you can basically buckle it in and then put the kid in like that. We're not doing that. We've kind of worked out this like little sling thing that hooks over the tray table.
Yeah.
So kind of, she can sit there and
Oh, cool.
wriggle about and lay out a bit. So hopefully that works. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
It got good reviews on Amazon, so
That's awesome.
You're doing what you can.
that's all you need to know, right? If
Yeah.
it's getting good reviews on Amazon.
How old were you guys when you went on your first plane ride?
23, maybe
Wow.
24.
Wow.
Yep.
I thought I was bad. I was
No.
like 12.
Yeah. No, I had no reason. Like, I mean, I'm from 2.5 hours from here. Like,
Yeah.
all my family that I had that was far away is in Utah, and my parents didn't have the money to fly, or like in Utah, Colorado,
Yeah.
and like to fly a family of 5, we just didn't have the money for us to all fly out there.
I think for me it was maybe when I was 17 or 18.
Okay. So I don't feel as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
Like most of my friends had flew when they were either babies
Yeah.
or really young.
It wasn't until Heather went to Kansas for grad school. The first flight I did was Nashville to Kansas City.
Okay.
Also
cool.
flying out of Evansville, like they have a regional airport, but like, I feel like my parents, if they fly out to Denver or fly out west, they drive to Nashville because it's a direct flight, and they're like, well, if I'm gonna have to do some weird like Evansville to Chicago, Evansville to Dallas, like why not drive to Nashville and see kids, and
Yeah.
then fly out from there? So
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
This is the one that gets me. The first time my father left Australia, left the country, was to come here for our wedding.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And how old was he?
Oh, goodness, I knew you were going to ask me that. And anyone who's hung out with me before, right? Names and dates.
Yeah.
I'm Devin, by the way.
Yeah.
Bill, right?
Bill. Yes.
You don't have to be exact. In his
Yeah, it's
50s,
fine.
60s,
Yeah,
whatever.
In his 50s.
In his
In his
50s.
50s, okay.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's surprising to me because I would feel like one of the cool things about being in Australia is you are like a 3-hour plane flight from like other countries. Like you can get to like Papua New Guinea, you can get to like all these other places where it's like, hey, now I'm in Malaysia.
Yeah. I mean, second fun fact of the day.
Yeah.
This will blow your mind.
Uh-oh.
It is closer from Perth to get to Singapore
Yeah.
than it is to get to Sydney.
Yeah.
Right? Singapore's 4 hours away.
Yeah.
And Sydney's 5.
Yeah.
So what is the coolest place that you have visited?
Oh, goodness. Well,
I think you may be my first Australian that I've actually like had a sit-down conversation with. So, sorry I'm asking all these questions.
it's
I think it's
fine.
cool.
one of the really interesting places I've been to and actually lived there was Northern Ireland.
Oh, really?
Belfast is a
Yeah.
fascinating place. And it's funny, like, you talk about presidents and their legacy and things like that, and people who live here talking about President Clinton as that guy that was, fooling with Monica and all that
Look
stuff
at all those
there.
scandals. Yeah.
Yeah, all that. This guy, he's bad. You go to Belfast and talk to them about President Clinton. They love him
Really?
because of the Good Friday Agreement, right?
I have no
So-
idea what you're talking about.
Okay,
Do you?
No.
so
I know a lot of random facts, but
through
Man, this is
so
a history
we're,
lesson.
We're getting really into Irish history, right? So Ireland was part of the United Kingdom. It was originally the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, right? Fast forward to between the First and Second World Wars, there was the Easter Rising, they call it, and that was kind of the start of the independence movement in Ireland. They then ended up with Home Rule, which is kind of like the king's still the head of state, but you can have your own parliament there and do your own thing, and they eventually then declared independence and so on. As part of that then, there's counties in Ireland. It's 32 in total. There's 6 in Northern Ireland, and then the rest are in the Republic, 26. That makes 32, right?
sure.
Close enough.
Yeah. You said you were a banker? No,
You said he was a
or
banker.
was a banker. Gotcha.
Investigation still pending.
Yeah. So Northern Ireland said, well, we want to remain part of the United Kingdom. So that's where you get the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Then through kind of the 60s and the 70s, they had a real bad problem politically in Northern Ireland because they had their own parliament, right? At one stage they had a prime minister of Northern Ireland, which is weird. They had a real bad problem with gerrymandering, among other things. But instead of not like gerrymandering that you have here that's based on, who you vote for,
Yeah.
over there it was really based on Catholic and Protestant and whether or not Northern Ireland would remain part of the United Kingdom or become part of a united Ireland. Right. It kind of developed, everyone got mad about it. They then kind of aligned themselves with the civil rights movement in the United States the African-American people here are being oppressed, under Jim Crow and everything else. We're being oppressed as Catholic people by these Protestant people, and we can't vote to self-determine, change the government, whatever, right? So they align them, the Catholic people, and it's not really Catholic, it's more nationalist than a religious divide. It's more a divide on whether people want to be part of United Ireland or remain part of the United Kingdom.
Gotcha.
They didn't get into the non-violence bit. So the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, and then kind of offshoots of that. And then there was the UDA, which is the Ulster Defence Association. And basically these paramilitary groups sprung up all over the place and, started shooting and killing each other and riots and everything else. So in the 70s, the Thatcher government said, you know what, we're going to send the British Army in there to be peacekeepers, in inverted commas, right? And there were a whole lot of people in the IRA and everything else. They're like, well, we don't really know how to attack these guys, but there's these British Army guys here who are just here to oppress us the same as these other guys, so we'll start attacking them as well.
Yeah.
And it became a real problem. So then fast forward through the 90s, and there was a big peace negotiation effort. It was led by a US Senator here, and I can't think of his name, and ultimately resulted in the Good Friday Agreement, which is basically the paramilitary group said, all of us are going to lay down our arms and decommission our weapons and devote ourselves simply to political means. We still haven't renounced the fact that we want to be part of a united Ireland, or we still haven't renounced that we want to remain part of the United Kingdom, but we're putting aside armed struggle and we're just simply going to approach this from a political process. So that then resulted in the devolved parliament that they have in Northern Ireland. It's in a place called Stormont. So you hear them talk about Stormont. So it's just outside of Belfast. And it's a big manor estate that became the parliament. During the Second World War, the Senate chamber there, it's a monocameral parliament now, but back then it had two chambers, but it wasn't functioning. The Senate chamber, Bomber Command had for monitoring air movements of the Luftwaffe and that over Britain and Ireland, right? So you think like they got this huge room and they've got laid out all these maps and they're moving the little planes around and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. So that, resulted in what's now the power sharing agreement that they have in Northern Ireland. And there's kind of a Irish nationalist party called Sinn Féin, and there for the first time they have the most seats in Stormont, so they have the First Minister position, and then the Democratic Unionist Party, the DUP, there's all these little acronyms. The DUP occupy the Deputy First Minister position, and it's a joint office. So if either one of them resigns, the other one's out as well.
Okay.
So it's how it works. And it's funny because, not funny, but it's interesting in that the DUP are kind of a centre-right party. So sort of what you would think like the Republicans are here, or the Conservatives, the Tories in England. And Sinn Féin are a centre-left party, right? So they're ideologically different as well. And they have to function together as a unified government, right? It's a bizarre thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe we could get Congress to do that here.
That might be bipartisanship I keep hearing about.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be nice.
That would be nice. Yeah, I was thinking of whenever I think of Northern Ireland, all I think of is the U2 song "Sunday Bloody Sunday."
Yeah.
Which is about what, like 1972, whenever some British soldiers killed
Yeah,
some protesters.
So that's about the massacre in
Yep.
Londonderry, or Derry, depending on the city. So Derry is the second city in Northern Ireland. Belfast is the capital.
Okay.
It was originally called Derry. The kind of the nationalist community there still call it Derry. Bunch of English settlers moved there and said that we're going to rename it Londonderry.
Oh, okay.
So if you look at it on a map now, you'll sometimes see it called Derry.
Interesting.
Londonderry / Derry.
Yeah.
So there's always sort of like nuanced things that you don't really think about, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
there's Eddie Izzard, a stand-up comedian, used to have a joke of like he just assumed Britain went everywhere. He's British. And would just like put a flag down and be like, we own this now. And they'd be like, we live here. And they'd be like, do you have a flag? No. Then I guess you can't complain.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I feel like no matter how much I learn about the world, there's always more to learn, especially with like government structures and everything. So it is genuinely fascinating. Do you listen to many like audiobooks or anything? Or is this literally just like stuff you remember from like being in school?
It's stuff I remember from being in school.
Okay.
And,
Man, good for you.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I did.
Oh, so
yesterday.
you actually like progressed in school. Oh,
Yeah.
That's
I was a terrible math student.
Oh, okay.
which is hilarious. because
Weren't you a banker again?
I was a terrible math student who ended up being a banker and has an economics degree.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean,
Good thing for
economics-
technology now, I
Yeah.
guess, right? No, I'm joking, man.
Oh,
I'm
man.
joking.
That's those internet degrees.
That's right. Yeah.
Got my University of Phoenix.
That's right. You're a rising phoenix. That's awesome.
Oh, man.
So you said one of your parents is from Leeds.
Yep.
Does that make you a Leeds fan for soccer or football?
Well, you know.
You would know. Soccer
They just got
team
relegated. They had a very strong American presence a year or two ago, which might have led to them getting relegated. Let's discuss Jesse Marsh. Come on.
I don't follow Leeds
Okay,
football
cool.
all that much.
I didn't know what all you inherited from your British side of your family.
My grandfather, he was a big Leeds.
Oh, was he really?
supporter.
Okay.
He really was.
Oh, so Leeds has football as well?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm joking. That's such an
They have the
American
soccer
thing.
team and the football team.
Didn't-
They sure do, Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
But sadly, my grandfather died before I was born.
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, he never really got to pass that on to
Yeah.
us. But so when they hit the Premier League, I was like, you know what, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon here, and then hopped off, and now Devon tells me I got relegated.
Yeah, they
so
got
I'm
relegated like a year or two ago.
I'm kind of happy I hopped off the bandwagon at that point. So at the moment, my football watching is Welcome to Wrexham.
Yeah.
Oh, is that good?
It's good.
I still have yet to watch it. I know. I need to.
Yeah.
Get into it.
Yeah. Do you watch it with Catherine Clare?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the thought of being like, hey, Heather, let's watch a very soccer or sports focused TV show. Don't worry, as Ryan Reynolds associated with it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the selling point?
Well, I think that's what originally got Catherine Clare over the line was
Ryan
was
Reynolds.
that. But the thing I appreciated about that show is it does a really good job of explaining the tiers of English football and how the Premier League is at the top, and there's all these other things, and how relegation and promotion and all that stuff works.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that still boggles my mind.
yeah.
All of that stuff.
Unless you are really into English football and understand that, you'll know what the heck are they talking about.
Yep.
Somebody suggested that they should bring relegation and promotion into the NFL.
I'd be okay with it.
See your Titans.
Yeah, there'd be I think it'd be better like in the MLB or something like that, where they have like the AAA leagues like already set up and everything.
I'm going to have some Titans players show up in a minute and I'll egg in my car.
So we've
or
only had
something,
one MLS player, so as long as you don't trash Nashville SC, then you'll be
We
fine.
haven't had a Titans fan or Titans player.
No Titans players yet.
So,
We'll have to though.
I mean, it'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with it.
Well, do you like Nashville SC?
I've been to one game. So my current employer is actually one of the investors in Nashville SC.
Oh, cool.
Chris Redditch. Hi, Chris. So every now and again they'll get some tickets to that, and I've been to one of their games.
Yeah.
Is that the main sport in Australia?
No,
Rugby?
no, AFL, Australian Football League.
Oh, okay.
So Australian rules football is very, very different to NFL.
Yeah.
They kind of say it takes its roots a little bit from Gaelic football in Ireland,
Okay.
but it's not really like that either. So it's kind of a bit of its own thing. There are a lot of ex-AFL players who end up in the NFL here as kickers.
Yeah.
Really?
Because Australian rules football is a lot of like kicking on the run and stuff like that. I think it's maybe Seattle have a Australian kicker on their team, and there was some playoff or something that they were in, and he just scooped the ball off the ground and just booted it. As he's
It might
running.
be a punter or something like that.
And the coach was like, "Yeah, I know he thinking about doing that, but he scored a goal out of it." And
Yeah.
So, but that's really the big winter sport.
Okay.
And then the summer sport is cricket.
Cricket. If Bluey has taught us anything,
Yeah.
it's cricket.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Which, by the way, just so you know, Justin, I have no knowledge of cricket. There's a lot of sports and things. I have some something where I can act like I know what I'm talking about.
Dude, I don't know anything
Cricket
about
is
that.
especially, I'm like, yeah, no, is it croquet? It looks like croquet.
Here's the bit. Cricket in India is like college football in the South.
Yeah.
Really?
Cricket is huge in India.
Interesting.
And they have a IPL, it's called India Premier League, and it's kind of like these cricket players who've played for Australia. Right? It's a national, like there's Australia plays England, plays South Africa, India, Pakistan. So a lot of the national players at the end of their careers, they'll go play IPL and earn like bukus of money.
Really?
Yeah, and it's all Indian tech money, Indian, and it's all based there, which is kind of cool.
Cricket. I'll have to read up on cricket.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah.
I don't even vaguely understand it.
No,
at
it
all.
makes no sense.
Did you ever watch Futurama? There's like one episode where like Fry is watching like a futuristic version of baseball and he has no idea what's happening, but he's just cheering happily the entire time. I feel like if I watched cricket, I'm like, yeah, was that supposed to be a good thing? I'm not. Yay! I don't know.
That's my wife. Whenever I have cricket on at the house,
that looked athletic.
I do not doubt her at all on that.
We had ESPN Plus for a while because
Disney bundle and all that.
Disney bundle,
Yeah.
So I had it was a West Indies game. So the West Indies are the Caribbean, so like Jamaica, all those sort of islands off of Florida. They kind of have a combined team, and they were actually playing a game in Florida in Miami. Which I'm like, I don't know they played cricket in Miami.
I haven't either.
I'm like, I'm going to... So I was watching that, and I think they were playing, I don't know, it might have been like New Zealand or someone like that. And
So America does have a cricket team?
Or are they just playing here?
They were playing here.
Oh,
Because
okay.
everyone comes, for some reason, Miami's is like very international city.
Yeah.
That like everyone comes to.
Interesting.
I mean, if
Okay.
Lionel
Sorry.
Messi is like,
Sorry
sure, I'll
for-
come to Miami. I'm like, Miami must be much more international than I realized.
I guess so.
So I was watching that, and Catherine Clare was like, oh, yeah. And she watched it for like 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go do something else now.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And then she came back. I think it might have been half an hour later. Okay, turn that off. I want to watch something else now. Yes, dear.
I think you're good. I think you've watched enough. Cricket?
Yeah.
Is that pronounced
Yeah,
cricket?
that what it is.
Oh man. Okay, you already gave us 2 fun facts. Whatever. Do you have any other off the top of your head fun facts that you can do?
I'm looking at these lamingtons here that you made.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
what are
waiting to-
lamingtons?
So a lamington is think of a pound cake that's then coated in chocolate and coconut.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they're not a thing here, because
I didn't even put any jam in between them.
sugar. You've seen the recipe that you can get. You put jam in them as well.
Yep.
The fun fact is that they're named after Lord Lamington, who was the 6th or 8th governor of Queensland,
Okay.
and he didn't like them. And
So somebody named it after.
go look this
So
up
good.
on Wikipedia. It's not PC, but
Yeah.
he had a lot to say about them, and none of it was good. Now, the funny thing with it is no one knows who Lord Lamington is.
Is he real?
Yeah.
Okay.
After he was governor of Queensland, he was governor of Bombay, which is now New Delhi in India.
Okay.
But yeah, no one knows who this guy is, but the cake lives on. So
That's hilarious.
the cake that he didn't like lives on.
Yes. Is there any, we were talking about this before the episode, American sugar and Australian sugar,
Yeah.
different types of sugar. Is there any flavor profile from us that you miss from Australian food? Because America's pretty greasy, very salty, very high in fat,
I mean,
delicious, destructive.
Yes, very destructive.
I don't want to think about how much I weighed before I
That's
moved
not,
here
that's
and
not the
how much
question I asked. That's not the question I asked. Okay, so you're okay.
Australian food has a lot of origins in English food.
Yeah.
So, fish and chips and pies and stuff like that. Australia is a country of migrants.
Okay.
Apart from the indigenous folk who've lived there for thousands of years, and they have their culinary traditions that we're only really just discovering now, which is such a shame.
Yeah.
We've a lot of cuisine from Italy and Eastern Europe and the Middle East and Asia, because of the different waves of migration that there's been since Australia was really
So it's very similar
settled.
to U.S. then, with all the migrants, and we have just a plethora of different types of foods.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That rarely originated from America,
Yeah.
or at least the base of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's been Americanized.
Yes, it has.
So where I grew up at home, we had a mosque nearby us, the Islamic Center. So there was a lot of Middle Eastern food around where we were because, they would open stores and things like that to earn a living, and they wanted to be close to the mosque, so they bought a house nearby, and you want to be close to work and close to home. So that's where I grew up with that, and then there was a big wave of Italian migration after the war, so a lot of Italian restaurants and things like that. Yeah.
What's your favorite American food?
Oh, I don't think about this. Oh, gee.
I mean, hamburgers. I feel like hamburgers are like fried chicken. Are the most
But hamburgers are German.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Hamburger.
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 I mean,
Hamburger.
I really like barbecue.
Yes, that's what I was. That's what I would say.
During the pandemic, we lived in Antioch. We now live in Murfreesboro. But we discovered Fat Boy's Barbecue on Murfreesboro Road.
Oh.
The barbecue is fantastic there. best barbecue I've had in Nashville is there.
Okay.
I think this place has been there for 100 years, and the grease on the wall tells you so. He's got his smokers out front, and it's a good deal. So I really
and
like
it's called Fat Boy.
Fat Boys.
Fat Boys Barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, how do you guys know each other?
We don't know each other.
This guy? I don't know him.
Yeah. We went to church together for a little bit. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. And my wife and his wife are in a book club together and have been for
a while now.
A long time. Yeah. So, why aren't there more guy book clubs? I don't have the energy to start one. I'm just I would like so many things. I'm like, I would show up every once in a while.
I don't know.
Because like
that doesn't sound
it's
interesting.
not how men usually find community.
Yeah.
You know how to read, Justin.
I don't read no good, okay?
My problem is I read so slow.
Oh, really?
I bought a book on Cuba.
Okay.
Because, I'm a history nerd.
A little bit.
No, I couldn't tell.
No way.
Only like 75% of the episode so far.
Yeah.
And was like, kind of tangent here. I think if I was to have a second career, I think I want to try and be a diplomat.
Oh, yeah.
So I was trying to figure out like all of this stuff, all of these problems that have geopolitically are rooted in history.
Yeah.
So like, what in the world is the history with Cuba?
Mm-hmm.
So I bought this book, and my wife makes fun of me that I've had that book a year now, and I've got a third of the way through it.
That's why you get an audiobook.
Yeah, audiobooks are the only way now.
I think I need to do that.
Yes. Yeah. Especially when you're driving in the car, going from home to work and work to home.
Yeah.
Listen to it. That is the way I do it.
And I've got the Murfreesboro to Nashville commute.
So how often do you have to go into the office?
Oh, man.
3 days a week.
3 days a week? Oh.
Yeah.
24 sucks. Because I go from Nashville to Laverne.
Yeah.
And I'm going the opposite direction, and I just see just a line of cars stopped. And I'm so thankful I do not have to be in that.
I've kind of thought of renaming some of the interstates to more adequately reflect what they actually are.
Okay.
Right. So I-24 would probably be, parking lot or
parking lot section C.
Yeah.
There's so many wrecks on there.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
And no one's moving. How do you wreck them?
Yeah. How do you hit each other when everybody's going at 10 miles an hour? 840, I think I would call Mad Max.
840, that's a deep South Nashville cut. Like just outskirts. Like, that's good. That's good.
Yep. I just had to take that today.
Did you really?
To Columbia, yeah.
Yep.
Maybe 65, it might be like Cotillion or something like that.
Yep.
So.
But how do we start a guide book club? Because I do audiobooks a lot, but I also like do 2 times speed. So I'm one of those monsters where like if the kids want to like, if I like plug my phone into like the car, sometimes it picks up the audio from whatever you're listening to last, and it is an audiobook usually. So it's like, and like, Daddy, how do you follow that?
Yeah,
like, how do you not follow that?
How do you retain that information so fast?
Really weird.
I guess you are.
No, like right now, currently I'm listening through, it depends on what type of book. Like I've been listening through like serial killer books where it does like deep dives of like the people who investigated the serial killers.
Did you do
I
Chaos
have
yet?
it on hold. I'm waiting for Chaos, which is about Charles Manson.
Man,
but like
so good. You should read it too.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it'll take him 3 years, but
do the audiobook.
do the audiobook. But like,
ask me in 2030.
like, oh yes, I still that book is a great paperweight.
It's on my shelf.
It's right there right now. But no, that's it. I'll do like if it depends on the content. Like if it's something like that of like someone giving a recount of history or something, I'm okay with listening to it super fast. If it's like, hey, here's a book about how your nervous system works and like super science detailed, I'm like maybe like 1.5 speed because I don't know what half these words are. Or if it's like, here's a history book where someone's giving a general idea of what happened in like a culture, I'm like, I can listen to that quickly.
So away from audiobooks, podcast, short history of.
Oh yeah,
That is a really good one. And then Real Dictators is
I've heard about Real
another
Dictators.
good one.
Which might include Cuba.
So I have to drive. It does. It talks about Cuba. It talks about
Yep.
all the dictators, and it is so fascinating. But
Yeah.
but it's very similar to short history of. It's half an hour to an hour, and it
really digestible.
yeah.
Yeah.
But short enough to where like it doesn't lose your interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, I have to drive a lot, so
Yeah, you do.
I either listen to an audiobook or I listen to a podcast, and those are some of the podcasts I listen to.
If
So check them out.
I think the longest audiobook I did was 40 or 44 hours. It was about Vietnam and like the war in Vietnam and like how it started and how it ended, which was what, like multiple
The
decades?
PBS
Yeah.
series.
No, like as in like an audiobook. So it was like when France tried to originally conquer
Yeah.
Vietnam and then ended with like America's failure to do with Vietnam. And it did like all of it. And by the end I was like, yeah, I don't remember like the first half of this book because it is so long. So I have to like temper it of being like, if it's more than 20 hours, I'm like, all
I
right.
wonder. I listened to Atlas Shrugged
Oh yeah.
on audiobook. I don't know. It was long,
Yeah.
but I don't know if
Some
it was
Stephen
40
King books are
hours.
like 1,000 pages and they're like 40 hours long.
Jeez, that is
So there's a
long.
Ken Burns
Yeah.
series on PBS,
There
the
is.
history of Vietnam War,
Yeah.
and there's an accompanying audiobook. And
Yeah.
I tried to listen to that, and it's like,
It's
The
those
person-
ones-
I can't do
yeah,
this.
that's-
The person. I mean, it really depends on who is narrating.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, the
If-
storytelling ability of someone's
Yes.
reading voice matters a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to. I think I had mentioned this
Mm-hmm.
on another podcast about. I listened to the Real Anthony Fauci by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He didn't do it. He had somebody else on it, and the person talked like this the entire time.
So,
And-
so you're just like, what voice is this?
Yes, it was so ridiculous. I was like, man, this is really hard to listen to.
Like, I'm a really big fan of Richard Rohr, Franciscan monk, and he just has like a lot of kindness to his voice, where he's almost like the church elder who's like, hey, here's how you messed up today, and I'm gonna help you through it. One of his audiobooks, he didn't read it, and I was like, I don't want to listen to this. It doesn't have the warmth of Richard. I don't want to listen to this. Now I just feel shame because I'm aware of all the things I'm not good at, instead of feeling slightly hopeful and encouraged based on the tone of your voice.
Oh, Devin.
You don't overanalyze these things?
No, I do not.
Not at all? You don't think about your vocal tone at all times?
That's why I don't listen to our podcast. I have yet to listen to a full podcast of us because I can't do it. I can't listen to myself.
Well, Matt might. We'll see if Matt listens to this
Yeah.
episode.
ask me in 2030.
Yeah. I always wonder if anyone, if you're listening to this episode right now, please tell me if you ever do more than one speed. Like if you do 1.5 or two times speed, because I talk faster than
Only
you,
the weirdos,
Justin.
do
So yeah, whoever listens to me 2 times speed, that'd
I
be really
made
weird.
fun of my wife listening to an audiobook at 2 times speed. So,
Yeah. Catherine, Claire, and I are similar in
Yeah.
this. So I'm like, yeah, it's a 10-hour audiobook. That's like 2 days of listening. So only like 5 hours. We'll be fine. Yeah. We'll do the 5 questions, and I'm going to change the 4th
All right.
question whenever it's my turn because you already answered
Uh-oh.
it. So
All right. Did you have any backup names?
we had a boy's name for the longest time,
Okay.
and I won't say what it is
you
because
never know.
if we have another one, that's what's going to
okay.
happen.
All right. Are you guys thinking about having another one?
Well,
She's 18 months. They're about to do a really
Hey,
long
man.
plane flight.
Hey, man. It's an honest question.
It is an honest
not
question.
actively.
Gotcha.
Let's put it that way. So we had that, but as far as the girls, we struggled for the longest time with the girl's name, and we ended up with Eliza, and my mother's name is Elizabeth. My sister-in-law's name is Elizabeth. So we thought, well, Eliza's, nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a UK thing, not so much anymore, but back in the day, to name your kid after the sovereign. So there's a lot of Elizabeths around,
okay.
right? That's why George is popular.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
So we were like, we really like Eliza. Let's roll with that. come to find out later, my grandmother's grandmother. So what happened was my grandmother's father, he was killed in the war. He was taken POW in Libya, what's now Libya, was, treated poorly, whatever, made it back to the UK and then passed away. My grandmother then went to live with her grandmother. Her name was Eliza.
Oh.
And we didn't know this until we're
cool.
like, oh, yeah, my grandmother's name's June. And we were telling her, and I said, oh, yeah, we called her Eliza, and she just started sobbing.
Yeah.
Like, that's my grandmother's name.
Oh,
And I'm
really?
like, I said to my mother later, how did I not know any of this?
Especially since you're like looking up ancestry, learning like of all the people to know your family tree, I'd expect you to know that pretty
Names
well.
and dates.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then Eliza's middle name is June.
Oh,
So my grandmother's name is June. So that's Mum's mother. And my dad's mother, her middle name is June. So, well, that really works.
Yeah.
Even though she was born in October. But,
Yeah, it's fine.
So Eliza June, that's her
Cool.
name.
Next question. Favorite TV dad?
I thought about this.
Yeah.
And I think the one that stood out to me, I mean, apart from Bandit.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know,
that's
we-
like, I mean, I can't actually let you say Bandit, you know?
we all love Bandit.
We do.
I was thinking about this, and I think maybe Jeb Bartlett in The West Wing.
Oh, yeah. Which is
Right.
the most appropriate answer you could possibly give.
But I think about the episode where his daughter's abducted,
Yeah.
and he puts himself on paid administrative leave because, he can't function in the job. And you think about how tough that would be, right? That's a job that, as president, that he has thought about, wanted to do his entire life, professional life.
Yeah.
To then sign yourself out of the equation for a while to take care of your family, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
So that's kind of stayed with me.
Yeah.
All right. Least favorite kids show.
Oh, the one I saw the other was Blippy.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And I was talking to somebody about this at work, and she has kids that are a little older than Eliza. And like, oh, this damn Blippy was on, what the heck is this? And they're like, oh, yeah, he just sold that to Disney for like bukus of money. And I'm like, man, how'd this fool do this?
We had to pick up Finch from daycare.
Yeah.
And we brought him back to the house, and he wanted to watch Blimpy. We never watched it before.
Yeah.
It could be a cool show if he would just stop acting that way.
Yeah.
I've never watched it. I've avoided it this whole time.
And
It was probably a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's I'm keeping that door closed.
and I was just like, I can't get into this. Like, if Ada wants to watch this, I am not going to let her.
I can't be in the room.
Yeah, I cannot. So, I'm right there with you, man.
Yeah,
YouTube-
I just feel my brain rotting as it's on. And I'm like, nah, I turned it off, put Thomas the Tank Engine
Yeah,
on.
man.
There you go.
I mean, our parents never had to deal with YouTube content.
Yeah.
Where it's just like unregulated, unvetted, just someone being like, I think this is a good show. Bloop.
But here's something I'm struggling with here, right? Because I grew up with UK Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah.
Right? Ringo Starr was
Yeah.
the narrator.
Yeah.
I was looking on Amazon the other day and found Thomas the Tank Engine. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is cool.
It's
It's
not
the
Ringo.
Canadian version. And this guy, it's like, since when was Thomas Canadian?
Okay, now I gotta look this up. Was George Carlin the conductor in America for it?
No.
Hold on, I have to look it up. Thomas.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, he was the Thomas narrator.
Was he
Yeah.
really? Wow.
For a while there for the
Okay.
American. Yep. Yeah, because it's just funny to think of George Carlin, who had literally the foulest mouth you could possibly have, just casually reading for a tank engine.
So I watched that for a little bit and I'm like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I had to go find some bootleg version on YouTube.
Yeah. All right, so here's your replacement question. Normally we say favorite kids' toy. You already said Duplo. You said Legos. So what's your go-to replacement curse word?
Oh.
I hope it's Australian.
What is it?
Crikey. I'm joking.
Crikey. Biscuits.
Biscuits.
Which would mean cookies. You're saying cookies,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
In that
yeah,
scenario?
that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Awesome. All right. Next question. Moment of your kid's life you're most excited to be a part of.
Oh. To be honest, I think when she can start traveling and, really get into like different experiences in different countries and experiencing different cultures and different ways of life, because something that I think this is maybe a cultural thing for Australians. We travel so much.
Yeah.
And we really have an appreciation of how other countries and other societies, communities do things, and we take the good and leave the bad.
Mm-hmm.
I joke about it. We're the kid that copies your homework, right? Our health system's modelled off the UK one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our parliament's modelled off the UK. The stuff that we do that's modelled off the United States and different countries. We have this anti-graft corruption body thing that's modelled on its original idea is from Hong Kong, right? So when we can start exposing her to different cultures and different ideas, and that whatever country it is, be it America, Australia, UK, anywhere, they don't have it all together. And strength comes through diversity, plurality of thought, being able to take different ideas and being able to appreciate and use them. I think that's what I'm, really excited to see in her. And then, of course, like the usual stuff like graduation and weddings and stuff like that.
Cool. Awesome.
That's really cool. Do you want to do any self-promotion? Do you want to promote...
Not your banking.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Anything you want to promote? We'll see if you survive your trip back home,
Again, if United are listening, right, that upgrade would be nice.
You just want to promote the potential free upgrades.
Yeah. It's not even the guy that was, we don't talk about the doctor that got beaten up on United no more.
Yeah.
But no, not really.
Yeah.
I'm on socials.
Yeah, we'll tag you in the post whenever we do it.
I think if there was a dad's walk that got going in Murfreesboro, I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, maybe we can get some
we've been looking for someone to head that up.
Yeah, dude. That would be cool.
Regional president.
If you need a bigger title, we'll give it. Just lead a dad walk.
What's a good greenway in Murfreesboro?
Well, I would say the Stones River Battlefield.
Okay. Well, we can reach out to the Nashville Dads people that are on Instagram, and if you want something, if you're being serious about something,
we can put out like a hey, how many people are from the borough?
Yeah.
Would you want to do a dad?
And for the history nerds out there, it's one of the Civil War battlefields.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's part of the national park system,
okay,
so you
cool.
can get your mug there.
Yes. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cool.
Matt, thanks so much for your time, man.
Thanks.
Really appreciate you coming on and do an episode.
It's great talking to you.
Great talking to you.
Thanks again for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at The Nashville Dads and to subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify podcast. We record at New Light Podcast Studio and episodes are produced by me, Devin.